Welcome to the Ex Good Girl podcast, the place where people pleasers, perfectionists, and overgivers come to unlearn the good girl rules that you thought were making you good, but now you can see are actually just keeping you small. If you've spent your life being unable to say no, putting everyone else's needs and feelings above your own, constantly seeking external approval, or avoiding conflict to make others feel comfortable, if guilt and resentment feel like a constant weight in your life, it is time to learn to knock that shit off. Every episode, we dive into the stories, skills, and strategies that you need to stop shrinking, start speaking up, and to live a life that is authentically and unapologetically yours, while also deepening the connection and vulnerability in the relationships that matter to you. I'm glad you're here. Let's jump in. Like most of my episodes, they kind of roll around in my mind for weeks, sometimes months before I actually feel able to get them out. I often say that my mind is like a crock pot. You'll get your dinner in 8 hours. And my mind's been rolling some of these ideas around for a couple of weeks now. And then I got an email this morning through my website from someone who I won't name. That's not the important part. But what she said, it just had such an impact on me that I decided to just sit down and get this done, because it is so common, and it made me tear up, as you're going to hear in just a minute. Why? Because it just is so indicative of what I hear from so many women week after week after week. The self-doubt, the self-criticism and judgment that so many of us live with for decades. Here it is. She said, I'm 75 years old. I've always, since childhood, tried to keep down conflict in everyday life. I tried to shelter my children and myself from my husband. He's not violent and has never physically abused anyone. He just always has to be right and have things his way. What's wrong with me? And here's what I wrote back. There's nothing wrong with you. You are perfect and deserve to be valued, heard, and seen. The problem is that you and all of us were taught by patriarchy that conflict means something bad, that it's your job to regulate everyone else's emotions, and that you're bad if you don't do that. That's it. You are not to blame. Your programming is. And what I have been thinking about is the impact of the way that we unconsciously think about ourselves as women who have been swimming around in patriarchy our entire lives, who were raised by people who swam around in patriarchy their whole lives, and just the way that it becomes this invisible structure that we don't see that actually shapes our behavior. We live in a world where our behaviors are shaped constantly in this interplay between conscious thought and unconscious thoughts. I want you to think about it like what you see on your phone. The conscious thoughts are the apps that you download. Now, if you know me in real life, the fact that I'm using a tech example should make you laugh, because I'm famously not tech savvy, but this makes a lot of sense to me. When I download the grocery store app from my local grocery store, so I can use coupons when I shop, I can see it. I know what I'm doing with it. But what I don't see is the operating system that are the limitations and the parameters of what that app allows me to do or not do. I don't see any of that unless I'm upgrading that operating system. So the conscious thoughts are what I can actually see. The unconscious thoughts are the operating system behind it and what that allows me to do. So what I hope to do in this episode is to help us see the operating system in terms of the thoughts that we think about ourselves, sometimes consciously, most of the time unconsciously, and explain a little bit about why it's so hard for us to just change our thoughts about something. Oftentimes I have women who are beating themselves up because they say things like, I know that I could set a boundary, but I just can't. And it's because there is not only the tension between the conscious and the unconscious, but there is tension between the logical mind and the nervous system. Our nervous system is in charge of helping us respond to threats that are perceived in our environment. And so often, our logical thinking is opposed to our nervous system. Like, I know I shouldn't eat this cookie, but it just tastes so good and I need it for some reason. I need it to feel better. I need it to feel comforted. I need it to feel safe. I need it to take my mind off things that are bothering me. And so this is actually a really complex conversation. And this isn't going to be a perfect episode that includes every single thing you ought to know, but I'm hoping it gives you a couple of things. Number one, a peek behind the curtain at that unconscious operating system. And number two, a framework for beginning to change, beginning to be curious about the way that the unconscious operating system is making you think there's something wrong with you all the time. I mean, it is just such a constant refrain that I hear from so many women. Am I doing too much? Am I doing too little? Was that mean? Was that not nice enough? Should I have done more? Should I have done less? It's just, this is why we are so fucking tired, is because we are constantly trying to feel good about who we are and what we do. And there's so much in the unconscious operating system that limits us. So I want to just go through some of the basics of that operating system in terms of the thoughts that we probably don't even consciously think, but are there. It is not meant to be an exhaustive list. That's impossible. I mean, the longer I kind of tried to make a list, it just got longer and longer and had more and more iterations. And so the point is for you to begin to be curious about your own unconscious operating system. And in making it conscious, you'll discover a couple things. Number one, there are some things that once you realize that's what you're thinking, it'll be easy to change. Like, for example, when I realized how much I apologized for every little thing that I did, I made a social media post. This was a little while ago about apologizing to a man in a grocery store when he ran into me with his cart, right? Now, some of that behavior is automatic, so it takes a while to change. But the minute I did that, I was like, I don't have to apologize just for existing. And it was very easy for me to believe that. It didn't feel threatening or dangerous or make me feel unsafe in any way or nervous or worried. I just thought that just makes sense. I shouldn't have to apologize for him hitting me with my cart. And I was able to cut down on a lot of my apologizing really easily. There's still some habitual apologizing that happens. So some of the thoughts that I'm going to express to you and the reframes are going to be really believable, feel very easy for you to maybe adopt, and it'll change your behavior. Other thoughts you're going to notice in your body feel a little dangerous, or they bring up some anxiety, or they make you worry. That is because there is a sense of risk or danger or lack of safety that is going to require some deeper nervous system work. And I'm going to give you a couple of ways to do that at the end of the episode. My hope is that it will give you some actual skills and tools to start using immediately, and then just some curiosity for yourself instead of criticism or judgment, right? Because again, in the words of this email, what is wrong with me? That is just such a painful, painful question that I hear so many women ask. And we deserve to live a life where we are not constantly blaming and criticizing and judging and second guessing and doubting ourselves. We deserve to live a life that feels beautiful for us, that feels like we have choices and power. So that's what I'm hoping for. Okay, so these are just some of that operating system, the unconscious limitations behind the scenes programming. A lot of us think, I can't disappoint anyone else, or I'm bad or they will be mad. And instead, you could think disappointment is a normal part of life. I can disappoint other people and be a good person. Sometimes we think, I can't speak up. And instead, you might think, my voice matters, or I am wise. Sometimes we are thinking, I'm too much. You are not too much for the people who love you. Or I am too much for systems and people who don't see me as a whole person. Sometimes we're thinking, taking time off to take care of myself or to do what I want is selfish. And what we could think instead is, everyone benefits when I take care of myself. Or how I feel matters just as much as everyone else. Sometimes we're thinking, I have to avoid conflict at all costs. Instead, we could think, conflict is the door to increased vulnerability and intimacy. When I work through conflict with someone, we feel closer and everyone benefits. Or I can handle hard conversations and hard emotions. A lot of us were programmed to think, I need to be nice and kind. How about I can handle people being disappointed or upset with me? I can feel whatever I need to feel and take good care of myself. I get to have the whole human experience, which means all emotions. We're often taught anger in women is off-putting. What if we could believe my anger is an emotion that has important information for me? My anger points me in the direction of what matters to me or where I need to take better care of myself. My anger is good. I can be angry and still act the way I want to act. We're often taught as women, don't brag. Try this on. Acknowledging the things that I do well is part of respecting my hard work. Or, I deserve to be recognized for my talents and what I do well. Or, I don't help anyone by playing small. This next one is a big one for a lot of us. Here it is. Don't make people uncomfortable. We could think discomfort is part of growth for me and for others. I can be kind and disruptive, or just disruptive if that's what I feel like I need to be. Next one. I have to be perfect or make no mistakes. Here's what I'd like you to be curious about. Perfect is impossible. Perfect is made up. Mistakes are part of being human. I am loved and lovable, even when things don't go the way I wanted them to. Here's a big one for a lot of women. I need to check my decisions with others to make sure they are right and good. It's a kind of an iteration of, I can't trust myself. Try this. Seeking input or feedback is different than seeking permission. Which one am I looking for? Just check in with yourself. Because I don't need permission. I am wise and capable of making good decisions, and I can handle it when things don't go the way I want them to. Everyone gets to make mistakes. It's part of life. This next one is a big one. Women are too emotional to make good decisions. Try this. My emotions are intelligence. I trust myself to feel and decide. Here's another big one. You're too sensitive. Don't be sensitive. Some kind of iteration around sensitivity. My sensitivity is a superpower. It makes me wise. It makes me notice. It makes me attuned to the people around me. My sensitivity is an important part of who I am. Next one, don't be negative. Try this. Naming harm is not negativity. It's integrity. It's who I want to be. Sometimes I just get to be negative like everybody else. This next one, oh, such a big one. Don't be needy. Try this. I deserve to have my needs met. My needs are not a burden. I hope you're noticing as I read each of the unconscious programming and then the reframes, pay attention to what's going on in your body. I'm feeling some anxiousness. I'm feeling a little bit of, ooh, because of course, I'm still working on this too, just a normal human like everybody else. But just notice how some seem to make sense to you immediately. That's where to start, right? Just take a few of these into your daily life, write them on sticky notes, put them in your phone to remind yourself, okay, there's that unconscious programming. There's that operating system peeking out again, and start to work on the ones that feel a little easier. For me, that was that moment in the grocery store. I just knew in that moment that it didn't make sense why I was apologizing so much, and I could stop. Some of these are going to take a little more work, and I'm going to talk about what to do with those. So let's do a couple more. This is a big one. My body should conform to conventional beauty standards. We don't ever think that consciously. It sounds more like, oh, I wish that looked different, or why does my body look like that, or why doesn't my body look like hers, theirs? I should change that. I should, right? It sneaks up in kind of iterations, but underneath it is this subconscious programming that my body should look a certain way. And I want you to think this. Just try it on. My body is mine. My body does amazing things for me. This next one gets a lot of us. Don't be bossy. Try this. I can be clear, direct, and respectful. Or I don't owe anyone my niceness. This next one is almost universal when it comes to how women think about themselves, myself included. My worth comes from being liked, needed, or chosen. Try this. My worth is inherent. My value is inherent. Just because I exist means I am valuable, and I don't need permission to exist fully as myself. Oh, this next one, if you want to know what I'm working on, it's this one right here. I have to earn rest. So I am trying to believe that rest isn't a reward. It's a right, that I deserve to rest, that I need to rest, that my body deserves to rest. Lastly, my value is determined by what other people think of me, what they think of my work, my body, my house, my kids. It's just an endless list. Try this. My life is mine. The most valuable thing I can be in the world is me. One of my favorite quotes is by Martha Graham. This is what it says. There's a vitality, a life force, an energy, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there's only one of you in all time, this expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium and will be lost. If you want to think something powerful about yourself, I give you Martha Graham's words. Because when you're believing that your value is determined by what everybody else thinks of you, it is constant exhaustion. Or you could just think my personal favorite, fuck off. My life is mine, and I get to do with it what I want. So you've noticed, as we kind of been reading through some of these, that some feel easy, some feel like, of course, and some feel a little harder to believe, maybe, or a little dangerous, I want to give you a couple of options. I want you to imagine that what you would really love to believe about yourself is at the top of a ladder, like the operating system you really want, where you get to authentically, sincerely show up as you, be connected to you, know what you want and love and want for your life. That's at the top of a ladder. And you're standing at the bottom, and it's not easy to just climb all the way to the top. So, for example, if you've realized how much you think that your body should conform to conventional beauty standards, and you really just want to believe my body is mine. I don't know anybody, my body looking a certain way. That's at the top of the ladder. Then try this. Maybe the next rung up is all you can do for today. That's great. And maybe that could sound like, what if my body is mine? What if that were true? And let some curiosity come in there. Or another version is, it's possible that I don't owe anyone my body looking a certain way. And just let some of that wondering, curiosity, imagination, creativity come in there. And that will help you get closer to the operating system that you really want for yourself. So sometimes we can use that image of a ladder to just climb up the next rung, because if it's possible that I don't owe my body looking a certain way for anyone, then that opens up some different possibilities, an upgrade in that operating system. So that's the first skill that I want to offer you. Ladder thoughts. If you can't get all the way to what you want to think today, it's totally fine. What's the next rung up? What if it's possible that? How is it true that? Try some of those. And then the next thing that I want to offer is something that is really near and dear to my heart, and is how I have made a lot of progress. When that operating system pops up, it's a little version of me that is thinking that. It's a little version of me that is thinking, I can't brag. People aren't going to like it. And I'm telling her, you know what? Actually, we deserve to be recognized for what we do well. It's a little version of me that's like, if I'm not nice and kind, they're going to be mad. And I can bend down, I can hold her hand, and I can say, you know what? I'm going to be right here with you. And we can handle it when people are disappointed or upset with us. I'm going to be right here. It's a little version of me that is saying, I'm too much. I'm too much. I'm too much. I'm too much. And I can bend down, and I can take her in my arms. I can hold her on my lap, and I can tell her, you know what? We are not too much for people who love us. And we might be too much for systems or people that weren't built for us. That's okay. We can handle it. It's a little version of me that is worried about whether or not people like us, whether or not people are mad at us. And I can be with her and say, I like you. And we deserve to take up space and have opinions and be seen and heard. And I'm going to be right here with you through anything that feels uncomfortable. That is the essence of parts work. And it's something that I do all the time with clients, because that is at the center of the tension between some of our logical thinking, where it doesn't match with how we feel. Like, we know that we get to set boundaries, but again, it's the little version of us that feels like that's dangerous, or is going to somehow make us unsafe. So by being with the little version of us that is scared, we can start to heal so many of these disconnects between our conscious, what we want to do in the world, and the subconscious programming that keeps us in these people-pleasing patterns. We have to start thinking differently about ourselves. It is work that takes time, that takes energy. It's something that we work on constantly in Stop People Pleasing and with private clients, because I'm starting that part over. We have to start thinking differently about ourselves. We have to be consciously looking for that operating system that we don't see, that's invisible, finding the places where it's creating the judgment and criticism that so many of us live with, because we can upgrade it. We can upgrade it by thinking something different if that feels accessible. And we can upgrade it by being with our nervous systems in a loving, connected way, by being with those younger versions of us that were taught that this is how we had to be, and loving them and comforting them into an upgrade. That is what I hope for every single woman that I talk to, because there is nothing fucking wrong with us. And we deserve to live the lives that feel like they are authentically ours, because if we don't, it is the world that is poorer for it. This is our one wild and precious life. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next week. Hey, thanks for listening. If this podcast has been helpful to you, I would really appreciate it if you would give me a 5-star rating in whatever platform you listen to your podcasts. And if you go to my website, sarahfisk.coach, you can sign up there to receive my emails. Right now, I'm taking private one-to-one clients who want my help speeding up this work in their own lives. I really hope to provide a lot of free information on my website and in my podcast for people to do this work on their own. But if you're interested in having a coach like me to help you implement these things faster, to find the blind spots and obstacles that you're not aware of, go to my website and sign up for a consult. That's a time when you and I can get on Zoom and talk about the particulars of your situation, and I can show you how I could be helpful. The second thing you can do on my website is sign up for a freebie that I have called Difficult Conversations. Having a conversation that seems like it's going to be hard or difficult is one of the things that people pleasers struggle with. And so I've created a whole guide for you to be able to do that with some more confidence. That will also get you signed up for information about my group program, Stop People Pleasing. It's a group coaching program where you join a community of women just like you who are struggling to overcome perfectionating and people pleasing, and we do it together in a group. It's a really amazing opportunity to not just learn from your own experience, but just to see how similar you are to so many other women out there. The healing and the challenging and the laughing and the growth that happens in that beautiful community of women is really amazing. And if it's interesting to you, I would love for you to know about it.